All right, so I got excited seeing the start of this game because I've been thinking a bunch after the Dully Stuff match about this specific rule set if it comes closed, where you're allowed no 9/8s and only two 9/9s, which means, or like your other cards are mostly forced to be under. I forget exactly, but basically everyone's been running two 9/9s and a bunch of 8/7/6/5s or maybe 8/8/7s. And in open, the 9/9s have some effect. They're sort of a check. Do you have this covered? If not, it's going to have use. But in closed, you can't really do that without some risk attached. And I thought in the Delhi Stuff match, they really seemed to play very badly in the closed portion. If you could line them up, they would do fine, but they were hard to line up. And that got me thinking. I talked a little about this with someone. That maybe 9-5-2-9 is better just because being able to hit sevens and having it be more than a two directional thing lets you keep it more as a potential sweeper rather than just a card you're getting out of your hands. So your 8-7-6-5s can sweep. Maybe 9-9-5-3 to hit eights. Because hands are actually going to have more eights and sevens if they're filled with 8-8-7s and 8-7-6-5s than they are nines. Or at least, maybe not more because most hands will have four nines, but they're very oriented to one exact card each. It's going to play like there are more eights and sevens to hit. And so maybe the 4-3 backside is actually pretty poor, especially because if you're running like a 9-9 pair, you know the 4-3 backside can never hit the other card in your 9-9 pair. So I wonder if there's a case for different 9-9s. But the other thing was, and I'm not sure my analysis of the Stuff Delhi game was entirely right. Like, I do think Delhi should have gone in two rather than six, but if Delhi made the read that Stuff was using opposites, which is the correct read, then going in two gives Stuff a free lock in six, and there's a good chance he thought of that, and thus didn't want to concede that and wanted to play a slide that would flip three so they couldn't do the matching with the opposite pair. This probably doesn't make sense to you, but it definitely makes sense. So I think there was more reason for six than I thought, but I still kind of think you have to play two. Anyway, I'm not sure about that, but this got me thinking about 9-9s because if you look at that match, and that's one match, but with very typical hands, what did we see? Ooh, did this break stips? I have the stips up here. This is a 9-8, but it's not a 9-8 corner. Is that allowed? No 9-8 corners. Interesting. So you can run 9-8s. I did not consider this at all. I'm not playing the rule set though, so I didn't have to think through the cards. But what really interested me here was, so in that game, Stuff used one 9-9 corner as a weak corner, something easy to take. It just had no play, and he used it. The other one, technically not a corner play, it was in a side and with only one out facing side, but was also used as just a weak card to get out of the hand and be easy to recapture if needed. Notably, its low numbers meant it was part of a combo chain that could have actually been really problematic for Stuff if the cards had lined up differently. So both were just played as this is a weak card to get out of my hand in the square I'd like to play to direct the game appropriately. And I think they were both good moves. I'm not criticizing these moves. I think this was correct use of the 9-9s. Delhi was essentially set up to use his 9-9 as sliding cards. But again, it was using it for the weak numbers, not the strong numbers. And that seems like one reason I like cards like 8-8-1-1s on level 6 is because you can use it for the strong or the weak side depending on situation. And in the maybe semi-finals of Triad Wars 14, when I played Turds, one of the times I played Turds deep in a tournament, the return, I was losing if not for exactly 1-8-8-1's play. And so there is upside here, but it felt really clumsy. So I was thinking, what if 9-9s are just bad? And then Turds made the argument he thinks they're good in the open games, and this is half open, half closed. How reliant should we be? Okay, interesting. And then Turds pointed out that Yevon had just opened with 9-4-3-9 and 5. And I kind of love this for closed because I think 9-9s are probably, Turds is probably just right about everything. They're a card you want in your hand because they're good at a specific, if it's open, they're going to play pretty well if they're not completely covered, but it takes multiple cards to completely cover them. So they're going to play pretty well in open because you'll know when they're safe and when they're not, and you can make really informed decisions. But in closed, they're really clumsy. So getting it out of the hand immediately, potentially with other cards that play really well with it, if if other people are running 8765 wheels, like the 5876 you see here, where each number is one better than the next number, those don't have any play against 99s in the center. But if you're running 7685 or 6758 type cards, suddenly you might have a lot of play off it. So your 8765s might be much better aligned to use it than theirs. Even if they're not, though, you having last turn might mean your 8765s can play off it to combo opposing 8765s. So you can see clear versions of play either way, and I really like the concept of using the 9-9 early. I'm going to pause the video for a sec so I can go respond to some things. I just thought conceptually this fit the direction I was going, but somewhere I hadn't gotten to yet, and it's neat to see. Yevon is always a really interesting player because he comes up with ideas that make sense but are outside of where I would usually think. And that just makes Yevon a really fun player to see play and one you always want to go far in tournaments because you want to see more of what he's doing. Because it doesn't follow quite the conventions that anyone else does. And it varies over time. As you may recall, he in that Open GB, the first one back when it was like 30 games or whatever, or 20 plus games, and he ended up coming second with a fantastic run, playing aggressive side starters, not ones where he had safe recaptures, but ones where you had nothing to put next to it, and just demolishing people with it. And demolishing people with it, even though technically I think Yevon has played better at other times. He was making some mistakes he shouldn't really have been making, and he was still wrecking people because the positions were out of their comfort zone and he was handling them in complex ways. So Yevon's a really cool player to watch. I've also enjoyed watching Addy recently. I liked his match with Vid for a chat tournament quite a lot. I thought basically Addy just made the right move at all times, and Vid made the absurd move, and it ended up being really nicely and evenly matched for a while. I think Addy ended up winning. All right, I am going to pause to respond to messages. Just wanted to be excited about the start of this game. All right, we're back, and what's going on here? 5 is still Yevon's, but it's not obvious what combo potential there will be. Not obvious at all. If you're Yevon here, does it make more sense to go in 4 or 8? Really depends on remaining cards, but from what we've seen, with Yevon playing an up-down card, there's sort of, we've seen a corner and an up-down. So there's two natural things. He could have corners for 1, 3, and 7. So he could have been playing a 4-corner hand with one up-down card. Or he could have 2 more corners and a side-to-side card. Now, I think looking at 9439 and 8594, there is a decent chance he doesn't have the opposite corner because he felt these were good opposites that play nicely off each other. 8594 obviously can do a lot of things with the 9439. It has plus walls on 2 sides. It can potentially play for sames off the 4. This is a nice pairing. So I think Yevon is much more likely to be playing more like the broccoli style, which is here are cards that really fit together and are not the like obvious opposite corner pair that you sometimes see. So I like to go in 3 in these structures, and given that it locks in 6 forever, I think this is really appealing. You could also see if Addy goes in 2, he might have the plan of going 7. Because in general, in those positions, I talked about this for the last close game with 1, 5, 6, 9, the main squares are 4 and 8 going for the S or the Q, but the sort of follow-up is the main alternative is some combination of 3 and 7 if you think you have a really good sweeper for that endgame in 2, 4, 8. And we may be seeing that here, though Yevon doesn't actually need that because he's locked in the card in 6, and because it could be difficult for Addy to play in 2. Because that might be weak to 1. Now, there might be combos hitting 1. Now, there might be play back through 5, But having 8 is kind of hard. It's easier for Addy to have 8 because we know he set 9 after Yevon set 5. Um, so Addy is the one who set up potential play in 8. But I still think it's pretty unlikely. First of all, because is 8567 a card? I know 8765 is, but I don't really think 8567 is. I'm not sure. If that is a card, I guess I should know. But if that's not a card, it's pretty hard to have 8. Addy has shown 28765s, and from personal experience losing to him running 58765s, I know that is something he likes to run. And I think after such a dominant win versus me, I think that's going to be his go-to in level 8. And 8765s have exactly one configuration that has the plus wall, the plus there. And I don't know if it exists. I'll ask turds. Um, okay. So now if Addy has 7, Addy wins. Sorry, if Yevon has 7, Yevon wins. Now you might say, no. If Yevon has 7, Yevon's gonna win. Addy can go 8, and he'll be up 8-2. And so Yevon really needs to have the triple capture. It is hard to have that, but 7 is a win if you have everything, which is sort of the 3-7 theme. He doesn't. On the other hand, this is now really messy because, okay, 8567 is a card that wins, that exists. Ah, Milan is that. I should know that. That's an FF4 card. That's an OG card. And in fact, we see it. But this is a really easy card to have comboed back. I have no idea which direction this is going to go because if Yevon has, 7-8-5-6 type card that win, there's so many things that combo here. Like 5-6-7-8 wins here, though he's unlikely to have kept that. What do we think Yevon has? Let's not reload, and I won't look at the chat in case a move has been played. We saw 7-6-8-5, 5-8-7-6. So something like 7-6-5-8 seems like a card you could have left, and that would hit 9s, so we could have kept that. I think my official prediction is 7-6-5-8, in which case Addy wins. But it's so easy to combo here. Oh, this could really easily go either way. But if I'm picking an exact card, I guess I'd think 7-6-5-8. Go for the pair. I don't even know if that card exists. It doesn't exist. Oh man, I have no idea. Let's see. 9-3-4-9. That's not it. Yeah, the 9-9s continue to play badly. Nice win by Addy, especially winning on second turn, which is very difficult. So maybe best for Yevon would have been after 2 to go 8 with 9-9-3-4 and keep 7-6-8-5. Hopefully, as decent up down sweeper. It can hit 8s, can hit 6 or down, can hit 5s. If your opponent's running 5-8-7-6-5s, which you have to assume at this point, then the only thing it can't take is a 7 down, and the opponent has already shown 2 7s down. So I think that would have been the way to go. I think you're going to get... I mean, we don't know what Addy's last card is, but I think you get the tie if you go 9-9-3-4 and 8. Anyways, nice win for Addy. Very difficult on second turn to play same plus wall combo. Yeah, all right. We'll call that a video. I spent the whole time hyping up Yevon just to have it not go his way this time. And I do think this endgame was probably incorrectly played. I guess you can't really go 4 with I mean, he is hitting 8s at the end and 5s. And so he hits 2 of the 4 numbers that Addy can show. As we said, 8-5-6-7, if it exists, is a card that makes a lot of sense for Addy to have. But if you play 9-9-3-4 and 4, 7-6-8-5 isn't doing much. So you either have to go 7-6-8-5-4, 9-9-3-4-8, because you don't have the double setup. And I think you have to pick 9-9-3-4-8 because it just doesn't give away a free card in the same way. 7-6-8-5-4 gives away 1, while 9-9-3-4-8 doesn't give away 9. So I think a mistake at the end. Possible he loses anyway, but I really doubt it. Because the only thing you're really losing to is exactly a 7 down with a capture in 4. And I don't think Addy can have another 7 down in this hand. He's played 5-8-7-6 and 5-6-7-8. How many 8-7-6-5s have a 7 down, and how many are you going to run? So I think that would have held. Oh, he also had 8-5-7-6. Sorry, he's already played 3 7s down. It turns out there was another one he could have, though notably that one wouldn't have flipped back 5. There's no way he has a 4th. There's just no way. So I think there was a way to hold this end game. But yeah, interesting game.